Hello game makers, welcome to my channel. I'm Chris and this is the final air hockey video, so I think this is lesson 12. In this video I'm going to be covering how to sort of finish up the interface and get it to work, and then how we can make our game a lot more playable, like with different sort of game settings, and we can kind of refine it as we go. Alright, in the end of the last video, I kind of messed it up a little bit when I was testing between screens. Whenever I was clicking on the buttons, it was clicking on one button and clicking right through. So I'm just going to pause the video and quickly re-show you that. Okay, so this is our game main menu screen, and what I've got here is the start button and the exit game. Exit game will quit us straight out of the game, and then this is our start game. What happens is if I click sort of here, it will click right through into the game. So I'm just gonna, what I've done here is I made the start button a little bit bigger so I can sort of show it not working. So if I click over here, about here, then it goes into here, and you can sort of see where my easy button is directly below my start button. So I'm just going to go back and show you that again. Right about here, so it goes right through. Now if I did that again, but I clicked on the actual start button, what it does is it basically puts me straight into the game, which is completely not what I want it to do, because you know, it's a bit rubbish really for a menu. Okay, the way we fix this is if I go into my start game button in my object section, what I've got is the code that runs when you click on the button. So it says go to, and then it says rm_diff, which is the difficulty setting room. Okay, and all I need to change is where it says left button. I need to change this to, if you go to change event and then go to mouse and then click on not left pressed, because that's like holding the button down, left released. And then what this does is if what happens is let me just change the other ones, but anyway I'll carry on talking. So I'll change this for all the other buttons. So change event here. What it does is it's when you click on something, and it's only when you actually sort of release the button that it triggers the event, and your mouse has to stay in the right place in order for this to happen. So if you kind of think of it with like a landmine or something, you step on a landmine, and it's as you see in the movies anyway, when you remove your foot, that's when it blows up, yeah. And you have to keep your foot on it in order to sort of activate it. Kind of a bit of a weird example, I guess, but it's kind of like a example, the only good example I can think of. Alright, let me just quickly change all these buttons to make sure I've done them all. So change event, and mouse, left pressed, left released, sorry. Just double check I've done these right. Left released, left released, left released. Okay, I don't think these ones even have buttons in at the moment. Alright, so I'm going to pause it again and retest. Okay, so back onto the game screen. Now if I click on the button, I'm holding it down, and if I release, say, off over here, it doesn't activate, but only when I click on here and release, it goes right through. And you'd have to be pretty quick to go through into the game like that. I mean, you can still do it, but it still registers the screen, okay? So that kind of fixes that bug. Okay, let's close this. Alright, now to actually get started on what I really want to do this lesson. What I want to do in this lesson is I want to set up some variables that control like how our objects actually work, yeah? So I said before, I think in the past, that I really wanted to make the game more playable, and we can sort of tune out bugs and stuff. So what you can see here is inside the pad, which is one of the players, in the step event, what I've got is when you push key down, we've got this is the direction that we move in, and then this section here is the speed that we can move at. And in order to say, if I wanted to change the speed in which the players can move up and down, I'd have to come into here and then manually change this 10 into an 11, and then change this one into an 11, then close this one, and then open up my other pad, wherever it may be. There we go, it's moved for some reason. Alright, so I have to find this one as well. Go into the step event for this one, and then change this number to 11, and then change this number to 11. And it gets tedious, yeah? So thankfully, like, our game isn't that complicated, and there isn't too many objects that we could sort of track through, but still it's a little bit of a headache to go through and change everything. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up our easy button, okay, and our easy button is on like a different screen. It's on the screen before we get into our game, yeah. And what we're going to do inside of here is we're going to set some variables up first. So we're going to set some variables for the parts that we want to control. So variables, global variables setup. Okay, and then we're going to write in the variables that we want. Alright, so we've used variables before in the game, but you're probably not 100% sure that you're not 100% aware that you're using them, yeah? So for things like score and our score checks and stuff like that, they use setup variables. What global variables are, they're variables that are accessible from anywhere within your game. So when you press play on your game, as soon as they're set up, then you can always access them. Whereas like score, like our actual score values and that can only be accessed while we're inside one of the game rooms, okay? So we're going to write here, so global dot puck underscore speed, and then our puck speed by default at the moment is 14. Alright, then the next one is global dot pad underscore speed, and this is 10 as we saw before when we had it open. Then we're going to have global, if I can spell global, dot pad underscore pb underscore speed. What pb means is whenever our pad collides with the puck, it's the speed in which the pad, our player sort of bounces off it. So the puck's coming in here, and then the pad comes up to knock it, and it hits it, and then springs off it, and then the puck goes somewhere else, yeah? So this is the speed that we have for this, and this was set to 3 originally. Then we've got global, if I spell it right, global dot pad underscore wb. So the first letter is what it's bouncing off, and then the second letter is just to say bounce. So this is speed, and this is equal to 2. So this is when our pad hits the wall, how fast it bounces off the wall. Alright, and then we've got some new variables. So they're all our main control variables. Then we've got the size of game objects, I guess. And these are new things that we're going to add in. So we've got global dot pad underscore scale equal to 1 by default, and then we've got let's copy that, Control C, Control V, and then this is going to be puck, I think. No, you wrote puke, that would be great. Alright, and then after that we've got score limit. And this is the amount of goals that either player would need to score in order to win the game. So global dot score underscore limit. Alright, and you may have noticed when I wrote that, so just as an example, oops, equals 9, semicolon. Right, you may have noticed when I wrote score like that, it goes red, and what this is, it's a variable it's kind of like a global variable that's built into GameMaker itself, and this is like this actually stores whatever a score variable is if you want to use it, but it's connected to certain features and that, so it's always better to set up your own. So I'll just delete that. Alright, so these are all our variables that we've got, and then we've got our bit of code at the bottom which tells us which room that we need to go to, yeah? So O1 is our easy room. Okay, so we've got these, and I'm just going to sort of keep these, I'm just going to save them first of all and then reopen it just so that I don't lose them for any particular reason. Now all these variables that we've got in here, they're not actually connected to anything at the moment, so they don't actually do anything. They are in our game from the moment that we click on the easy button, yeah, and say we were going to have other buttons to sort of activate different properties in other rooms, then if we clicked on, say, the medium button and it had different settings in this, then it would overwrite these, and then we'd have different settings in that room. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to start attaching these variables into the right places. Okay, so I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to open up the puck. So obj_puck and open up this. I'm going to try and keep everything on the screen, or I might cut off a little bit of this. As long as you can still see the variable names, that's fine. So in the puck, inside of the create event, if I double click on this, what this is, so yeah, so you can see puck here, see create event, and you can see the code that we added the other day. And then we've got this set motion, and it says it has this choose section, which is the random direction, so it can go like this way, or this way, or this way. So it can go up, it can go, yeah, in any of the sort of diagonal directions. And then this 14 on the end is actually the speed that our puck moves. So in our variables section from the other one, you can see where it says global.puck speed. So yeah, global.puck_speed. You don't need this equals 14 section. So if you copy on this, copy, and then where it says 14, highlight over that, and then do paste. And then I'll just leave this on the screen in case you've done it and it goes wrong or something, so you can check it out. So it says set motion underscore open bracket choose open bracket 135 comma 45 comma 15 comma 315 comma 225 bracket comma, and then it has our global that we've copied from here, so global.puckspeed close bracket and then semicolon. Okay, alright, so that should work. Alright, and we're just going to quickly test this to check that when we go into this room that our puck moves without a crash, so we can check that we set it up right. So I'm just going to pause. Okay, so I'm back now in the game. If I click start and then I click on easy, you can see our puck's moving around and it all looks normal as before, right? So what I'm going to do is going to pause the video, and then I'm going to, right, let's just close it and do it. Sorry, let me close this. I'm going to come back to here where I've got my global settings for when I click on the easy button, and instead of 14, I'm just going to change it to 4, so we can check to see if this actually updates inside our game. So just a second while I compile. Alright, so I'm back and I've compiled the game, and if I click start game and then click on easy, you can see that the puck moves really slow. And you can just check that, you know, I'm not doing slow motion or something stupid, because like the pads move exactly the same speed as they did before. It's just that the puck moves really slow. So we've got this global control over how fast we can control our objects. So it's kind of like we can like change things really easily. So I'm just going to close this and put this back to 14 because that's what it was on. And then we're going to add in the next section, so we're going to tune up the pads. Okay, so I'm going to close this. Actually, should I do this now? No, I'll come back to it. Alright, yeah, what I was thinking was doing this scale section, but I'll do that in a minute. Alright, so that bit works fine. I'm going to open up pad 01, and in the step event, so the step event for pad 01, so you can see pad 01, sorry, object pad 01, step event, code window. You can see this code that we put in here before, where it's got the controls that move us around. It's got this key variable that has the motion set in it, and the value that we want to change is where it says 10. Yeah, so what we've got here, if I can click on this, if it doesn't lag out so much, what I want to copy is this line 3 that I have where it says global.padspeed. Copy that. And then where it says 10 on this, I want to highlight over that and I want to paste, yeah? So Control V, or you can right click paste, it's totally up to you. Alright, so if you can see these, I'll just leave them on the screen for a moment while I explain it. Okay, so where it used to say 10, now it says global.padspeed, and that's linked to this number here, yeah? And then this should work. So I'm going to do it on this pad, and then I'm going to, you have to change anything else on this. Yeah, I do. Alright, so I've got that one. I'm going to open up the other pad before I do these wall bounces. So other pad is, okay, so limited screen space is always fun. Right, so this one here, so pad 02, step event, and open up the code. and you can see this one's different because it's got VK down and VK up. Alright, and then highlight over these 10s and paste and paste. You can tell if you've done it wrong, or sort of tell if you've done it wrong, if this bit here has like an error message on it. So like say I deleted that full stop there, if that doesn't work, we delete this comma, that will definitely work. Right, so if you've got anything wrong with it, it gives you this red stripe along the side here. So that's like a big clue that there's something wrong. Alright, with these globals, so make sure that the reason why I'm copying and pasting them into this is so that I know that I've written them 100% right, because even well, especially me anyway, sometimes when I write things, I don't always write the correct spellings, or I put wrong capital letters into them, and that causes mess ups, yeah. So if you get anything where it says like variable, like it doesn't understand what the variable is when you get an error, that's due usually to like you've made a spelling mistake usually. Okay, so I'm going to tick this. In order to test this, or to make it a little bit more testable, what I'm going to do is see where it says in here, where on the easy button, rather than leave it on 10, which is obvious that it works, I'm going to change this to like 2, just to check that it totally is linked. So I'm just going to pause it while I compile. Alright, so I've resumed the game. You can see that on this pad here, if I push up and down, it works, and on this one it works as well. They change direction, but they move super slow. So you can see that those two are set up correctly. So I'm just going to close this, and then go back into the list of variables that I've got inside of obj btn easy. So this is where we set up all the variables. So I'm going to change this back to 10, and then that should work fine. While I've got these pads open, I'm going to update these two variables. So I'm going to go into line 4, and then I'm going to copy this bit here where it says global.pad_pb speed. So that's the next one, copy. And then it doesn't matter, I've currently got both pads open. So this was for puck bounce. So I'm going to select pad 01, and then where it's got the collision, so the puck, I'm going to double click on the code. And then in these set motions, on the end where it's got this 3, I'm going to paste in these 2 lines. So we're in the puck, and then we got puck bounce, so we can check that that's right. So it should have this line exactly the same layout as this. I'll just leave it there for a moment to copy. Okay, should be right. And then I'll close that. And then while I've still got the same one open, I'm going to select the line below and copy. And then open up the wall collision, and double click on the code, and then where it's got these 2s, I'm going to paste these into here. Okay, so this one is wall bounce, so we're inside of the wall collision, so that should be great. I'm going to click OK on this, and then I'm going to repeat the process on this one. While I've still got the wall copied, I'm going to open up the wall on this one, double click on it, highlight over the 2s, and paste. And click OK, and then on the puck, double click on this one, and go back to my code and highlight over the global.pad_pb speed, copy, and paste these over the 3s. Alright, and I'm gonna one last quick test to make sure that everything's fine. So I'm gonna pause it and compile. Okay, so the game's up and running again. Click start and easy, and everything's moving around, and should be able to get the pads to bounce off the wall slowly. And then if I can hit the puck, they sort of bounce a little bit faster. Okay, so everything's back working as it was. Alright, and then I'm going to close this window. Alright, so the next ones we've got here, we've got this pad scale, which is pretty cool really. Alright, so what we did before, when we, actually, no, leave that alone. Hold on. Oh, thank goodness for that. For a second there I thought I accidentally deleted all this, which would have been amazing. Alright, so I've got this. I think I just got to move this back up. There we go. Thank goodness. Right, so what we've got here is when we start our game, so if I go into the game room and open it up directly, when we added in the graphics, what happened was the original graphics that we had were slightly smaller than this. They might have even been half as much size in the puck speed, in the paddles, and then the puck itself was actually not quite as big as this. So the bigger things are the sort of more easy it makes the game, because it's a lot easier to hit it. Imagine playing like tennis or whatever, and you're up against an opponent and they got a normal size racket and they're hitting a tennis ball at you, and then you've got a table tennis bat and you've got to like play against them. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter how good the other person is with the table tennis bat, racket, sorry, paddle or whatever it is. Anyway, they're probably going to lose against the person with the big racket, as long as the other person isn't completely special. So yeah, so it adds more difficulty to the game. So that's one thing we're going to add in. So alright, going back to this, we're going to open up the puck and do it onto the puck first. So in the puck, in the create event, before we set the motion, so just going to put a line above this, we're going to change the scale of this object, or we're going to set it up so that we can set it up to change that. So image underscore x scale, like that, equals, and then we want to get our variable from our other place, which was, I think I've got it written down anyway, I don't need to copy it, is we're going to puck, right, so that's global dot puck underscore scale. Okay, and then that's it. Right, so that's our X scale. We need to do the same for our Y scale. So we've got our X scale is horizontally, and then our Y scale is vertically. Yeah, so we've got two sort of scales that we need to worry about. So I'm gonna delete that. Sorry. Let's copy this line. Control C, Control V, and then see on this second line we're going to change where it says X to Y, and then we're going to leave this scale the same, because these. Well, the reason why we're not using two values is because we want to actually be able to scale it, but like we want to keep it sort of ratio, its size ratio together. Yeah. So this is imagine like our scale is like a percentage, yeah, or a decimal. That's how it's going to kind of work. So I'm going to hit this down there. All right, and then I'm going to tick this. Right, I'm going to go back to my easy button, and then into the globals that are set up in my easy button. If it works, there we go. Right, so you've got pad scale and you've got puck scale, and I think we just changed the puck, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we just changed the puck. Cancel that. I think I've got too many windows open. Hold on. Nope. Okay. Right, there we go. Alright, so we just changed that. What I'm going to do to test this is in the puck scale here, where it says 1, let's put a semicolon back on there. We're going to change this to 0.5 to make sure this is definitely working. And then I'm going to pause the video and run it. Okay, I'm back now. So start the game, press easy, and then you can see our puck is absolutely tiny, yeah? And it doesn't really matter what, if it goes into the goal and recreates it, it's always, every time it comes back out, it's back to that tiny size, yeah? And you can see, like, if I actually just sort of play on my own, I was going to say play with myself, which is a bit inappropriate, you can see it's a little bit harder to sort of make contact with it. I imagine the puck was a little bit faster, then this would also be a bit difficult. Alright, so I'm going to close this, and I'm going to put puck back to 1. What 1 means is the original size in which we created it inside the sprite section. So that's like the original size, and then this is a percentage of the size that is on the screen. Okay, so let's do it to pads now. So copy the pad scale, so Control C, do the tick. I just want to close that to get it out of the way. And then I'm going to open up pad 01. I'm going to do a create event. Sorry, I'm going to make a create event because these don't have create events. I'm going to drag in a code window. I'm going to do pad scale, and then gonna go image underscore x scale equals, yeah, and then image underscore y scale equals there. Yeah, so it says global.pad scale, global.x scale. Let's put the semicolons back on these. For some reason it's not putting them. Alright, so that's the pad setup now, or that's one of the pads. I'm going to copy this, copy, and close it so that I can do it in the other pad. So pad 02, add event, create, code, control section, drag in the code window, paste, and then this is identical, so this should be fine. And then with a quick test, you can mess around with the size of that. So I'm going to go back to the easy button, and I'm going to double click on the globals, and then where it says pad scale, I'm going to change this to 0.2 for funsies, and then I'm going to test the game and pause it. Okay, so I'm back to the menu, click start game, and then I click on easy, and then you can totally just see how small these pads are. I almost thought that they were completely deleted here, but as you can see I'm colliding with it, and it makes the game somewhat more difficult to block the puck now. Okay, so I'm going to close these, I'm going to change them back to normal size, and that should be 1. And then that's pretty much, oh yeah, we got this bit here. So score limit, copy this one, Control C, and then we'll fix the score limit. Alright, so this is going to be inside of our score object, and in the create event. So in this, no, it's not in this one. Okay, so we're inside the score objects in the step event. Double click on the step event, and then it says here, it says if player 1 wins, it says if, and then it says obj underscore score dot score p1 is equal to 9. So this, where it says this 9, this is where we want to paste in the score limit, and do it in there as well. So the coaches look pretty much identical to this, so it goes the same on this bit here. It has equals to, and then it says global dot score limit close bracket. So this is where it goes on to here. Alright, I'm going to quickly, let's just leave, yeah, alright, we'll do a real quick test on that. So back to our global variables, and inside of our easy, and I'm going to change these to 2. That should make it quick. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, I'm back now. I'm going to click on the start button, and then I'm going to click on the easy, and then you should see that if we can score 2 goals real quickly, real quick being the keyword, so 1, let's get in the goal, there we go, player 1 wins, click on return, and it brings us back to the start menu, and I click on start, and then we can click another option, yeah, so we can go back into it if we want to. Okay, right, so we've got like our easy stuff set up, so we're going to change on this, going to change everything back to its defaults, yeah, so this is 9, and these are all the values that we had from the beginning of our game. Alright, what we're going to do is I'm going to copy all this, Control A, Control C, so all the code's copied. Going to close this one and then close this. Going to go to my normal button, and then on my normal button I'm going to do add event, and then mouse, and then make sure that it's mouse left released. Drag in a code window and paste, right, and then going to change, we've got to change this bit in a minute, so let's delete that out for a minute now, I'll change it in a minute. So it's going to come up with this error, so I can copy this, Control C, and do it on the hard mouse. The reason why I deleted out the room that it connects to is because we haven't actually made the rooms yet. So I'm going to do left released, and then a control and drag in the code, and then paste that in there. And leave it like that for a moment. Alright, what we want to do now is with my RM game level 1, I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to duplicate the room. Okay, and then with the new room duplicated, I'm going to call it RM underscore game level 02. I'm just going to copy this name so I can do it real quickly on that one. Control copy. There we go. And then on this one, duplicate again. Settings V03. Alright, the reason, there's something that you could have done. You could have just connected to the same room but with different global variables from a button, and that would totally work. However, if you do it this way, what it means is that you could change like the way the room actually looks. Like you could change the layout of the room, just as long as you got all the same objects in it. I mean, it won't crash as long as you have a score object in here. You have both pads in there, and then you've got a puck, yeah. Because it'll be looking for stuff that it doesn't have, potentially anyway. Right. So you could add in extra objects that kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. So first of all, we're going to mess around with these variables that are inside of this. So we're going to have easy in here, and in our easy we're going to change a few things. So we're going to make our puck speed less, so we're going to make that like 8. Then we're going to make our pad speed like, I don't know, say a bit faster, so 12. I'm going to leave these two bounce things the same, and then with our pads scale, we're going to do 0.2, 0.2 just to make them bigger. I'm going to reduce the score limit only for the fact that I want to sort of speed through these a little bit in the testing. So that's our easy. Okay, so our easy room is the easiest room. Going to leave normal the same, except we need to connect the rooms properly. So we're going to go to where it says go to room at the bottom. Going to write RM underscore and then select game level 02. And then with the score limit, I'm going to reduce this to 3 just so it speeds up, but we're going to put these back to 9 in the future. Just put a reminder to say it should be 9. Alright, and then on hard is going to be a lot more difficult. So with the puck should be a bit faster, I think. So the puck should be like, say 17. The pads can be like 8, and then our pad scale should be like 0.7 maybe, and then our puck should be like 0.7. It's a little bit harder. And then this one is going to be, let's put that to 5. Alright, and we can change these numbers back to 9 if we want to. Alright, and then we're going to connect to the new room. So this new room is RM underscore game level 3. Okay, so let's test these out. And it should be the case of, let me just run the game first of all. Alright, so I'm aware of that this video is getting a little bit long. So easy, everything moves kind of slowly, and you can see that you kind of got the desired effect. So it shouldn't be too difficult to. Okay, so that's on easy. So I'm going to pause this quickly. Okay, so the next one is on medium, so that one, and then normal. Oh, sorry, yeah, medium, normal, whatever. All right, so everything's back how it normally is. So I'm just going to try and score some goals really quickly, if I can. Ugh. 1, 2, 3. What did I set the limit to? Okay, so 1 player wins. This is a good test because that was the settings on that bit. If I do start game and then now I click on hard, you can see everything like it's, even though we had global variables set up, what it's done is it's reset everything. Yeah, so we've got tiny little paddles now. We've got a tiny little puck. It's quite a lot harder to sort of interact with everything. I mean, not so much interact, but like hit things. It seems to be a little bit faster, but our pads are a lot slower, so it's quite hard to sort of not score goals. Okay, see if we can go in the goal. Ugh, come on. And alright, so that player wins. If I go back to returns and then click start game, click easy, then it goes back to this setting. Yeah, so we've got basically what we've set up is some really good difficulty settings. And you can go into each of these rooms and you can refine it. The last thing I want to show you, because this is the reason why I set up different rooms, is if you go to sprites real quickly and do create sprite, we're going to create like a weird bounce object here. So SPR underscore bouncer. I'm going to do edit sprite and new and change these to 64. 64, come on, 64. I'm going to double click on this and I'm going to size it up and quickly just draw a circle, and you can kind of make it look pretty if you want to in your own time. So I'm going to scale this up to be round and fill it in. This kind of made it green just so it stands out. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to center the origin, and then I'm going to go to objects, create an object, obj underscore bounce. Going to load the sprite that I just made, and then in here in the section here, what I'm going to do in the parent section, I'm going to click here and I'm going to go to game objects and click on wall. So what this does is it makes this bounce thing have exactly the same properties as the wall. Before I do that, I'm just going to check that my collision mask is okay. So this is my bounce object. I've got this mask section in the sprites, and I'm going to change this to be an ellipse, so it's actually the shape of the object. And you can make different shapes if you want to, which is always fun. I'm going to go to my level 3, and then I'm going to get my object that I've made in the object section and find it. There we go, bounce. And I'm going to put this circle into the room somewhere, yeah? So I'm going to put maybe like one here and sort of scale it up a little bit. Like that. And then put another one over here and scale it up like this. Yeah, and it doesn't matter that you can sort of see it clipping through for now. And I'm going to quickly retest the game. So 1 second. Okay, so this is the game again. Click on the start button, click on hard, and you can see these new circle things. And then you can see when the puck hits them, it bounces in like a random direction, yeah? So you can kind of make the game a little bit more like pinball-esque, yeah? Obviously you can hide these and maybe draw something inside of your graphics application to make objects like seem a bit more realistic. But now it kind of adds like a sort of random factor to the game, yeah? And you can put like them in different places, or you can put them in front of the goals and that, and it kind of like adds an extra challenge to the game. And it's really simple to implement. So you can change your levels around if you want to, and you can like refine things however you feel fit to. Things that you possibly could add to this game if you want to carry on developing on it is you could add like sets and matches, like sort of they have in tennis, where you get your score and then it's the first one to win so many matches, and then there's also sets as well, so you can kind of lengthen the game out, and then that's just adding more variables and more interactions with it. Anyway, this video is getting a bit long. I'd just like to say thank you for bearing with me with this tutorial series. Hopefully my next tutorial series is a little bit better, and we can carry on developing together. Anyway, thank you.